I fuck with Nettspend. Don't do this, bro. It's big brain. None of y'all niggas try to get it. I know. This banger hot take vid is kind of long. Let me see.
Throughout his lifetime, the late critical theorist Mark Fisher would mention how futuristic music is futuristic in the same way how a font is gothic. These terms are no longer conceptually driven, but instead something futuristic or gothic.
I don't think one nigga in the chat understood any of these words, bro. I have a high IQ, so I understand what you're saying.
Recognized through their aesthetics, their styles.
Yeah, I know. Nigga said I'm out. Z's. You know?
Their appearances. Now, I personally think the term experimental in the underground rap space is going through the same transformation, where the electronic and rage sounds of those like Slayer, Che, Osama, Nettspend, and more are becoming the standard and are therefore being recognized more for a shared sound and a shared style that is perceived as experimental rather than any distinguishable experimentation being present at this point. If you don't understand what I just said,
I see what you say. Basically saying that the music is called experimental even though it's not, because they're using the same sound. You're basically saying that even though it's all similar music, they still call it experimental when it's not. That's what I'm saying.
This video is meant to express these thoughts.
Yo, all the big brain niggas, yo, tap in, chat.
Better way and more clearly, along with other ideas on the underground that can possibly fit into the same conversation. This is my first video on the new channel. This is my second channel. I do fashion over Dolce jeans. And yeah, let's get into it already. I know if I spend any more time talking, I'm gonna lose you and you're gonna find something else to do. Okay, so I'll try and keep it as snappy and concise as possible, but let me start by saying Whole Lotta Red did irreversible things to the underground, right? We all remember where we were at like 11:55 p.m. December 24th.
Is it crazy? I didn't listen to a whole lot of Red for like the first like year after it dropped. I didn't like, I don't know. I heard like a couple songs, but like I didn't like care about it. I was listening to Boop at Mookie at that point.
When he dropped a little early, or at least that's how it was on Apple Music. Immediate reception was divided but mostly harsh. Whole Lotta Trash was trending, and the most annoying person you know will never stop talking about being a day one Whole Lotta Red defender. There's a lot of lore surrounding this album, as there is with everything Carti does at this point. With leakers saying that this is an entirely different album than the one they had, Kanye apparently came in and cleaned it all up after he recorded a whole new album in 2 weeks.
A lot of those songs were made like 5 days like before.
Richie Self was supposed to be the main man, but Filthy got brought in, etc. But overall, the album was not well received. And then weeks went by, and then months went by. People started to come around to the new sound. There are songs like Sky, Vamp Anthem, Stop Breathing.
The best song is Not Playing. That's Carti's best song to me, still to this day. Not Playing is his best song ever.
For Guy, that really started to take off, and the certification of the album was the Lollapalooza performance in 2021, which is arguably his best show to date. Unless you want to include that one Rolling Loud show where he brought out Uzi, like I guess you can say that one too. But yes, a big dimension of this album was the fact that it was built for performing. And after its first in-person live performance at Lollapalooza, it was undeniable. This album was actually a success. Now the reason why
I think once he started performing his shit, that's when they started fucking with Carti shit. I remember, like I said, I didn't listen to it, but I remember I saw all the takes and I was like, damn. But I saw a video of niggas performing shit. I'm like, oh, this shit go. Like it's like loud. It's like every song was going at the concert. Niggas jumping up and down. It's like the first time I've really seen nigga like real like concert music.
I'm mentioning
like this is what he's doing. Like, he make concert music and niggas started. Like, it's kind of like the blueprint for concert music for niggas that started to do concert. Like Shay doing this shit now. Like loud music is for concerts.
Whole Lotta Red is because this was a lot of people's first taste with being horribly wrong about an album off rip and overreacting. Other than the he's just a gay vampire crowd, the majority of the people went back on their word, whether they were influenced by their peers or the music grew on them, or if they genuinely lightened up and opened their mind. What I'm saying is that this was a lot of people's first time understanding that they shouldn't jump
what size you think these is, chat?
The gun with albums or artists and give the art some time to develop. Another thing to note is that even though people like NASCAR Aloe and X planted the seeds for music like Whole Lotta Red before him, this album was widely considered to be experimental and unlike anything we've ever heard before. You pair this with it coming at the beginning of a new decade after an over 2.5 year wait with the most hype he's ever had. Unless I'm missing someone, I'm pretty sure this is the most iconic and important album of the decade so far. But for the rest of the video, just focus on the fact that it was considered experimental and it was hated at first because it was pretty different and people were.
Are you Cloud Media?
So let's move on to Nettspend. Alright, so Nettspend blew up off of that Chris Finesse Twitter post of the snippet for Drank, and the immediate reception was that
niggas are on your back. They say they gonna surpass you, bro. They say they surpass you. Ain't like your shit going up though. You got to scare already. I told niggas, bro, that shit gonna go up. Trust. Shout out to you, bro.
It was trash. It was actually an outrage low-key, with people even disrespecting his fans directly, saying very mean things about anybody who was somehow enjoying that music or that song. But of course, in the comment section, there was that one user who said, just give it some time and watch how it plays out. And safe to say it played out very well for Nettspend up until this point. Now in terms of experimental music, obviously this wasn't that experimental and certainly not as much as Whole Lotta Red, but the thing to focus on here is again the major switch up. Only this time it wasn't an album, it was a whole person. Whether or not you personally like him, there's a lot of people who have expressed on Twitter how they hated him at first, and again he grew on them. Now I'm not gonna act like he didn't improve and
shout out Chris Finesse.
Everybody changed their minds for no reason. I mean, the OK beats definitely helped. The Nothing Like You video was a big deal. I can't remember the first day views, but they were massive. And yeah, there's a certain demographic of underground fans that see themselves in Nettspend and heavily
I fuck with Nettspend. Don't do this, bro. Like all like nerdy ass niggas, like dork ass niggas, that's not making with Nettspend. For Nettspend make music for like a swaggy nigga. You swag, it's a swag. You know
for him, no matter what he does. This is what I consider to be the second big switch up, right? The second big switch up
me, nigga.
A lot of current underground fans have experienced. And if they're too young to have experienced a Whole Lotta Red situation, then they've definitely heard of it because it's
well, why y'all don't like this video, bro? So when niggas aren't having like 30 fucking quick ass like videos in the background, music videos in the background, or fucking 1EM penthouse in the background, music video in every video, and like loud ass fucking sound effects, bro, that you don't like it? Like this is niggas actually talking about real life shit.
Heavily mythologized. I mean, here I am talking about it like it was when France got free from the German occupation in World War II or something. If you don't see what I'm trying to get at this point, with every one of these situations where people have to eat their words or they get into something they hated at first, their integrity seems to weaken and they don't hold their initial opinions as strongly
Yo, Josh Jurgen, eat my boots.
I say their integrity weakens, but you could also frame it as if like their mind starts to open up. Also, like with that one guy under the Chris Finesse tweet who said, just wait to see how it plays out, a lot of people have discovered the value of, you know, being a day one defender. It's big for social currency. You get a lot of cool points for seeing the vision before anybody else. This is why people jokingly and unjokingly flex screenshots of...
It's me, bro. I got all these old screenshots. Dead ass.
Don't talk to Josh like that, Lil G.
Put you in a locker.
They only had a few thousand or tens of thousands of monthly listeners on Spotify because, you know, knowing our artists before they were popular is definitely going to fill your fridge with food and, you know, put gas in your car and put shoes on your feet, right? So at this point in the underground, people are not only incentivized to hold their negative opinions in tow until some time passes because nobody wants to be wrong again, but they're inclined to see the vision because how many times have they seen a new or experimental artist blow up after being ridiculed first? Imagine.
Yeah, bro, happens a lot, but even me, you know what I'm saying? Like you could think don't mean this kind of like, you know what I'm saying? This kind of environment now. Cause when I first making music, niggas hating my shit. Now it's like, yo, keep going, yo, you're going up, da da da, Cloud, I love your music. That ass. You think I'm talking dead serious?
The euphoria of being able to see you were a day one Nettspend defender, bro. Like bro, what this does is create a space where the bar is in hell and anybody can be platformed, and not just platformed but actually supported until everybody snaps out of the psychosis
tomorrow
at some point. People like, you know, Brennan Jones, you know what I mean? Now maybe I put them in the thumbnail, maybe you already caught on to the final stage of this exposition, and maybe you know exactly who I'm about to bring up. But yeah, it's the racist that goes by the name of Too Slimy.
Racist? Too Slimy is racist? What?
No, I feel like with Too Slimy we see the effects of the switch up on a Whole Lotta Red and Nettspend, and maybe even someone like Yeet who had a good amount of haters early on. There's so many Too Slimy fans that talk about seeing the vision.
Most of Slimy is the future Platform Max. Fuck you, little nigga.
Or him being experimental, or giving it some time until everybody starts riding his...
He's a new wave and hashtag they hate it.
Wave, instead of talking about...
Who's hashtag they, Chad? Who's like consider hashtag they?
How they actually like his music. It's like everybody's trying to cash in on the next big thing that was originally misunderstood because they saw how people got it wrong with situations like Whole Lotta Red and Nettspend. We're at a point now where people would rather give music merit based off of the fact that it sounds like nothing else or is seemingly experimental instead of whether or not it's actually good music. And for those of you who are thinking that people wouldn't listen to music that they actually enjoy or thought was good, I think you underestimate the meme culture and the gimmicks in the underground and how many things are jokes until there aren't jokes anymore. Nettspend was a joke to most people until he wasn't a joke anymore. And they're about to do the same thing with 5000 Demon and maybe even this GG Holland guy who just switched to like his...
This is the nigga that's cloning Lil Wayne. I seen one video. Is he actually going up though?
Personality like last week. See, the thing about...
But then you go up of just being different? Not anymore, bro. Like I see a lot of niggas going up with cloning. Like nah, like really just...
Social media, right, is that there's a lot less people that's talking than those who show up as validation metrics. Like,
it's both. I would say niggas are either like completely different, like some shit you never heard before, or you're completely cloning.
Likes, comments, reposts, and shares on those posts. So if there's maybe 2 or 3 really influential Twitter pages who keep promoting one artist under the guise that more people should hear them out or just wait until it clicks, and those posts get thousands and thousands of likes and lots of comments agreeing, then people will most definitely be influenced and encouraged to hear that artist out, because not only do they not want to get left behind, but they don't want to be, you know, wrong, dying on a lonely hill. Whole Lotta Red is still changing the underground to this day, from performances to rollouts to iconography to how fans consume music. And y'all wouldn't shut up about being a day one Whole Lotta Red defender, so now you want to be the day one defender of anything that seems ridiculous in the moment, because
one more time and you're going to get slapped. I got more swag than you and play than you.
It's like gambling with your online validation and hoping it pays off so that you can flex about it by the end of the year. But you're poisoning the stream the more you deceive yourself and others. And if nobody else ever told you this, I'll tell you now, it's okay to supposedly not get it. Go listen to Pretty Fun, Osama, Net, Che, Lucy, whatever you're into, just don't support this foolishness. Like,
low IQ or more paying attention to the AI too slimy Zilla than the video.
This you is crazy. I also want to, of course, talk about how the term experimental is getting bastardized in the underground, in my opinion.
I agree with this take, bro. Like, niggas call shit experimental when it's just cloning another nigga's sound. Like, it's not experimental then. Experimental's kind of what Too Slimy was doing at first, but now like other niggas doing the same similar shit. It's not experimental no more.
Really, when it's used as
even the loud 808 shit's experimental. Like the shit A2X Beyond, like the J Shorty beats, that's experimental. The more niggas do it, the less experimental it gets.
Somebody like this guy right here. So I want to start by clarifying that the vast majority of the underground and underground music is experimental when compared to the mainstream of rap, of course. But when you start to focus more and more on the underground itself and what can be considered experimental within the space, which is what I'm dealing with here today, more
face is experimental
once begins to be involved and applied. I think in the underground rap space right now, the term
Kirby, the only thing about Kirby, I followed him on IG, he didn't follow me back, so it's fuck Kirby. It's not fuck Kirby, but it's like, nah, I might, like, yeah, he didn't follow me back. Fuck is that nigga problem?
Experimental is being used as a safety net and even a virtue signaling tool.
Kirby K,
I say safety net because once you call something experimental, then no matter how mid or trash it very well may be, to say it's experimental automatically provides it with so much perceived value, because the idea is that the music was made with a lot of thinking and inspiration involved, and there's something that you are not understanding or you're fundamentally misunderstanding. It's more like gaslighting than being a safety net, actually. It can further be almost weaponized as a virtue signaling tool, because every time you see someone use the word experimental, especially next to specifically Too Slimy, it's followed by slightly condescending sentiments about how people will understand way after they do, or something stupid like trained ears, final boss.
I don't agree with that. Niggas can have trained ears.
Or they'll use the experimental narrative to explain how the artist is better than a supposedly less experimental artist.
I don't agree with that.
This is how we're losing the plot, because not only is a large amount of music being branded as experimental not really that, but now we're giving merit to music just because it's a bit out there. But experimental does not equal good. I said before that the underground is definitely experimental compared to the mainstream, but I think for something to truly be experimental, especially in this
most mainstream songs have been the same beats for the last like 10 years. I'll be honest, like this shit sounds really evolved, bro. Doesn't mean it's bad. All songs are bad, but like most of it's on the same exact type of song. Especially like fucking like what's that shit called? Like hood music, bro. Like hood music is all in the same type of beat, bro. It's all about fucking killing niggas. It's like taking your hoe, killing you, big chain, big watch. Like it's all the same shit, bro. That's not experimental at all. That's why I don't listen to that shit. I don't wait.
To have a certain level of newness to it. It has to have a feeling that it was truly inspired by something outside of itself, because experimenting with anything usually comes with adding something new or different into the equation. And it has to have a feeling of like thought to it, like nuance. Like you're not just throwing things at the wall hoping they stick, but you're actually, like your whole creative direction makes sense. In Too Slimy's case, I really don't think he has any of these three things. And yes, these are my personal criteria. So if you disagree, like go ahead and start typing that comment, let's talk about it. But his rage beats for the most part are just louder or even more chaotically structured. It's coming right off the back of everything that's going on at the top of the underground right now, just like how it was when the earlier beats he'd rap on were pretty much just crazier Wildcard Uno and Smoking Skull beats. And finally, I don't really see any thoughtful idea behind what he does. I definitely don't hear it either. If you compare something like Fête de la Vanille by Lucy Bedrock to the things that Too Slimy produces, I think there's a clear difference based off of my own like proposed criteria. I don't think there's much actual thought and actual experimentation going on with him.
But they rap about number 9. I never heard fucking Lil Durk rap about number 9, gang. Like this shit I actually relate to. Like number 9, fucking Dior heady jeans. You don't hear niggas rap about that shit. They want to talk about these big ass chains. Okay, ask me to follow.
But he's
trying to laugh. I'm gonna watch that after, Keith. Send it after the video.
You're just grotesquely mutating the Draco FM administration that's running the entire underground right now. You know what I mean? Music naturally gets louder and mixes genres and things like that over time, but his music genuinely sounds like someone is trying to brute force the sound into something new, but it really is just a weird, like, grotesque mutation in my opinion. I think the main way people are ending up enjoying this music, this quote unquote
nigga,
music,
I just ignore shit like that. Niggas is chatting. He's like, I know what you did. He wants attention, bro.
is because the production is familiar and just even more ADHD satisfying, and Too Slimy relies on like weird shouting sounds and melodies a lot heavier than other rappers in the space, where you can at least understand what they're saying. I barely consider what he does rapping, I'm not even gonna lie. It doesn't really feel like it half the time. Maybe I'm getting a bit too biased towards my own perspective, but if there was if there was better evidence of him having like real sonic inspirations driving his sound, or just more nuance in the way how he carries himself as an artist, I'd be more inclined to hear him out and try and quote unquote see the vision. But how do you go from boom bap rap to mutated TDF beats to songs like Serena and Rock? I'm straying away from the music, but please tell me I'm not tripping, like, please. Okay, turning my attention back to you, you need to have good discernment in order to keep the space alive. If you can't engage with stuff like what Too Slimy creates and put your foot down and decide that this stuff isn't worth endorsing, I don't know how you can expect an enjoyable community with good art.
Bro, it's up to niggas to, you can't just be like, yo, nobody should like his music. That's a crazy ass take, bro. It's up to the nigga to, if they like it, they like it, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't understand why, like, is he saying like people gotta put their foot down and not listen to it just cause it's like, it's not right? What you talking about? If I like Too Slimy music, I'm gonna listen to his shit.
Not entertainment, but art. Virtue signaling and posturing online is meant to make you seem more culturally advanced than your peers, but there's no value to be found in his stuff, so what exactly are you betting on? Betting on Whole Lotta Red made more sense originally, even betting on Nettspend made more sense originally, and you can even, like, betting on Blood originally made more sense, because even though I don't support him, like, that's obviously somebody who has a way better grasp on what they're doing, even if it's pretty similar in some regards. I don't see any benefit in forcing yourself to try and like see the vision here. I like to say that the instant classic Song Wars like times changing clip is a perfect illustration of people who have their heads on straight with nothing to gain from acting receptive to this foolishness, and the only person being remotely interested was Platboy Max, and that's honestly because he's been promoting Too Slimy since the In the Booth session. So don't end up looking like Platboy Max in a room full of discerning rap fans. And
bro, nigga, he like his music, bro.
The social currency.
He's acting like this nigga is like faking it, bro. I don't gonna lie, nothing is fake about this shit.
I'm betting on isn't worth it in the long run, cause gimmicks kill the genre and the art form.
Bro, this is the type of shit I can't fuck with, bro. I can't fuck with, like, this like hive mindset, bro. You're talking about, yo, nobody should like him. If you like him, you're crazy, bro. If niggas like his music, they like his music, bro. It don't matter if you don't think they should like his music. That don't mean nothing, bro.
Unity.
Zenta, fuck no.
To address the Mark Fisher thing I brought up at the start of the video, so the idea
I'll give you open if you actually want to open.
That the term futuristic lost all of its conceptual meaning in terms of the sounds being sounds of the future, but instead it got folded into a giant like font, a style, and aesthetic due to the loss of its conceptual connotations. I personally think experimental is going through a same type of consolidation, because a lot of what gets considered experimental nowadays are the same old repackaged futuristic sounds, you know what I mean? Now don't get me wrong, the rage music that originally developed as the runoff, like the kind of toxic runoff of the hyperpop era by rappers like Trippie Redd, King Carson, Carti, and producers like Starboy, Out of Town, and Luso, it's come a long way. Now we have Slayer, we have Pretty Fun, we have Che, Osama kind of fits in, maybe even Nettspend, Lucy, etc. Now I don't think the music could have gotten to this point without experimentation, not at all, because the whole idea was, you know, the heavy inclusion of electronic textures and such to push forward like rap music, right? But how experimental is a sound when what we consider to be quote unquote experimental is becoming the status quo? Like, the majority of the rappers in the top of the underground right now are rapping over these beats, this style of production, some with similar vocal styles, and sometimes, like, of course, the same producers themselves. I find the trio of Osama, Che, and Nettspend especially interesting, even though Nettspend isn't really underground. I know, but for the sake of the conversation,
none of them are.
I find these three especially interesting because although there's definitely differences between them, it feels like when one of these guys drops a project,
Underground,
it's like a new installation of the Draco FM's.
Underground's more of a title now. It's not like Underground went from being like your size to now it's your sound. Like, Underground is more of a sound now. That's a better word to say it. Saying a nigga underground don't mean like they have like no month listeners. Like, you could call like a nigga like niggas be calling like Ken Carson underground because of the sound. Like he's clearly not. Nigga, look at his monthly listeners, he's not. But like it's off the sound. That's why they call it underground and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Software. It's like the sound.
Yo, Digits, I'm busting your ass. I don't know if he's in here right now. I'm busting nigga. I'm about to win a fantasy league championship for HiScore, bro. Let's fucking go, nigga. I'm about to win a championship. Let's fucking go. And they can't fuck me.
Sound slightly updates itself, and currently Net has like the latest patch, if you know what I mean. My thing is when people go and like bring up sayings like experimental and boundary pushing to define this music and these artists, I know what they mean, but I just can't help but question like how much it really is that when it's almost like the established sound now in the underground, you know? And that's where I kind of see the term beginning to get bastardized, because again, it comes up as a virtue signaling tool or a tool to make your favorite artist seem well versed and avant-garde. But can we really call these sounds experimental anymore? Like, can we? It seems to me that the word experimental is now becoming just as aestheticized as futuristic, because the conceptually experimental feel of these sounds are being lost to their democratization, and the standards to be met to be considered as experimental now are futuristic sounds and distorted 808s. It's like a simulacra of what futuristic music originally was, because the word itself got detached from the idea and became a set sound, and now that set sound is being dragged into a whole nother equation where it bears no resemblance to anything conceptually futuristic.
It's big brain. I understand what you're saying. It's big brain though. None of y'all niggas try to get it though, I know.
And it's just something completely different than what it once was. Like the futuristic computerized sounds being referred to as experimental aren't experimental or even futuristic at this point like anymore. Like they're very current actually. They're now like they are the current sound. They're the most popular sound in the scene right now. Not to say that there aren't other artists doing other sounds. Like of course there's the OA new YSL artists keeping things relatively in line, but just how many people can be experimenting at the same time on the same wavelength of production, like on the same sound? I maintain the idea that experimentation kind of has to come from out there, and while rage music definitely was the new hot thing at the turn of the decade, I think it's about time we hang up that term when referring to the most dominant sound in the underground right now. In terms of this electronic sound, and say like Bloodlux Deluxe or Rest in Bass or Psychotic or Early Life Crisis, I think the music is now this music is now the foundation of what we have moving forward. It's the foundation, and it's not outdated. I just think it's reached a point in its life cycle where this is the floor, this is like the base, and I don't think we should throw it out or anything. I think it's nowhere near stale. I'm just curious as to what the next truly experimental sound will be in this space. Disclaimer, I'm not mad at anybody or disgusted or fed up about any of this stuff. Like I'm not upset about the use of the word. Just consider this to be like, these are like my genuine thoughts on a community I care a lot about, and if you think it's not that serious, then I totally get it. And let me know honestly if you think I'm being too harsh in terms of my own personal threshold of what should and shouldn't be considered as experimental at this point. I'd honestly love to discuss it with y'all in the comments or on Twitter or Instagram, TikTok, etc. But I'm still not done. Like, please don't click off. I have just one more thing to talk about. I want to talk about how artists are seemingly reacting to this demand for new experimental music. Che just dropped 2 new snippets the other day, or maybe a week ago, depending on when this video drops, and it features his new updated Mr. Krabs deep voice, with part of the caption being "Bite me." Now, aside from the fact that Young Thug has tapped into the same specific sound, like the same specific extra heavy sound multiple times throughout his career, I want to ask the fans, how do you feel about artists like Che and Nettspend having to figure out something new for the fans every 6 to 9 months or so? Or in Che's situation, honestly, like every 3 months. It feels like a reaction to the pace and turnover rate in the underground. The fact that while Carti wasn't dropping, people were specifically saying that Ken Carson and Lone surpassed him, and now they say that Ken Carson himself is old news because we got Che and Osama, and specifically
they say Ken Carson surpassed Carti
because he made 2 projects that have a direct link to each other in terms of song progression. Now they're saying like he has same song syndrome, which makes 0 sense, by the way. Just to touch on this briefly, anybody
I agree. Ken Carson, a lot of it's just that does sound the same, especially new shit. I agree with
who
that.
says like more chaos sounds like a great chaos, you're actually like losing it, because the only 2 songs off a Great Chaos that make it onto More Chaos are Lose It and Me and My Cup. The production on More Chaos is significantly updated. It sounds like something totally like progressed. Songs like Evolution or Live Leak or even Confetti wouldn't be on a Great Chaos. But yeah, enough of that. Yeah, people are now literally
I don't fully remember what was on it. I really don't know.
Calling Ken Carson washed and old news, which is crazy. The demand for new
he exposed himself, knows how person he is. What do you mean by that?
And experimentation in the underground is at breakneck speed, and Che seems to be the only one trying his very hardest to fulfill this crazy need that the fans have. which is why this snippet was divisive in
read chat. Why wouldn't I read the chat, bro?
Sense that half think it's trash and sounds ridiculous, and the other half are genuinely praising him for what they perceive as him living up to his constant experimentation and evolution. As someone who's heavily into fashion and constantly sees and hears about how turning out 2 to 4 fully new developed collections that are supposed to provide entirely new offerings and clothes every 6 months is unrealistic, unstable, and harmful to designers, I see this space, like the underground rap space, heading in the same direction, where there's a lot of pressure for artists to just give new, when realistically it takes a lot more time than even a year most of the time to truly reinvent yourself and your entire style and come with something new. Like, please don't underestimate the amount of tinkering and trial and error and actual inspiration it takes to take your music from one place all the way to another and really have a fully finished product. I think the cracks are starting to show with this new Che voice that's causing all this discourse. I won't say that it feels like lazy or cheap, but it does feel kinda uninspired, and like it was just another edition of him throwing something new out there so that he doesn't get
I was thinking that same too thing, man. Like, I don't know, like as an artist, bro, you know what I'm saying, y'all know I'm a growing rapper. It's not as easy as it sounds, just like to make all the new shit every few months. Like, he's basically saying like
Ken Carson, same song syndrome treatment. I think when there's so much pressure for new on such a short notice, these are the types of efforts we get where it's just a tweak of the voice that, while it's not a one-on-one comparison to the Thug songs I mentioned earlier, it personally didn't knock me off my feet, because it's like, okay. I really do find it interesting though how quickly an artist in this space can quite literally be consumed and considered old news though, and I think if there wasn't so much pressure on artists to keep up with the mythologized versions of themselves that their fans have created, then they could genuinely take some time to go live life, be inspired.
Basically saying artists are trying to change the image that their fans have come up with them. That's why they constantly change their sounds, try to adapt to that image. But it's never, they're never able to catch up to the image. It's like Sisyphus in the rock going up the hill. The closer you get to changing your sound, and when you change your sound, people gonna like you, gonna keep going up. And then people gonna fall back down because people gonna be like, oh, I want to change the sound again. I want to change the sound again. I want to change the sound again. Wow, bro. Just wow, I get it.
Work in the studio without deadline pressure and develop something.
My brain is so fucking huge, bro.
Truly interesting and even game changing. But yeah, those are my
final. This is not for you to understand, bro.
Rambles for real. This video is over. Okay. Make sure to follow the socials in the description. I would love to build up my Twitter audience specifically because you know that's where like most of the actual discourse goes down. Yeah, welcome to the new channel. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
Damn, bro. You know, chat, what y'all think, bro? YouTube, if y'all like this video, come to the Twitch, bro, so we score at, bro. You know what I'm saying? We got those in the comments in the description, bro. You know what I'm saying? We got those in the comments. Like, y'all boys, HiScore going up. Peace.